Hi, my name is Mike Dolan. I'm the director of the film Dance with the One, which is screening here at the Dallas International Film Festival. And here talking to Carrie and Joe.
Well, thanks a lot for being here on a Sunday morning. And your film, Dance with the One, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Are you going to hold that?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, Dance with the One is a story about two brothers, Nate and Sitter Hitchens, who sort of have very difficult circumstances. Their mother has overdosed about 3 years before the film begins, and their father's not really functioning as a dad anymore. Mm-hmm. So the older brother, Nate, has had to sort of step into this father role, and as the film opens, he's sort of trying to figure out a way to get away from this and sort of run away from his past and his family, and in a sort of misguided attempt to secure sort of the future for Sitter, he gets involved in this bad sort of deal that goes really wrong, and actually a guy from Dallas ends up sort of chasing him around.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, he's wearing a suit. It's sort of a comment on the Bush administration.
Oh wow.
Not really, but
well, it's kind of a heavy topic. How did the story come about?
The story was written by Smith Henderson and John Mark Smith, two writers in, well, John Mark lives in San Marcos, but Smith lives in Austin. And I think John Mark originally wrote it as a novel, mm-hmm. And then they adapted it as a screenplay, and John Mark was really interested in exploring the generation that would come after sort of the progressive, sort of rebellious scene of the 70s in Austin, the music
Sure.
scene. His father's actually a musician, a bass player, Bobby Earl Smith, who was in Frida and the Fire Dogs, and just wanted to sort of explore sort of the kids of the hippie generation and the legacy and what's left over, especially within sort of tragic family circumstances, sort of what's, who are those kids and how do they function. And the film is very, my approach as a director was to not judge either generation, I had a lot of experience as a kid. My dad was like a business guy in Dallas until he decided to be a hippie, like in '67. And so I grew up on lots of communes all over the West.
Wow.
And so it sort of fit really well with my understanding of that. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, and again, so I just wanted to make sure we didn't, judge those people, but we sort of didn't soften the difficulty that the kids have, mm-hmm. And having to kind of raise themselves pretty much.
Sure.
Yeah, and so it was sort of a very psychological and emotional story, becomes very visceral and violent and physical, like their emotional survival becomes a physical survival because he gets involved with this really bad guy and things go wrong.
Now, talking a little bit more about the process of making the film, this was done with the UT Film Institute, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. So the University of Texas Film Institute is basically sort of this umbrella within the radio, television, film program, but it also encompasses theater and dance, mm-hmm. and music and architecture. So we had classes that would be filled with people from all these different disciplines. And first there was screenwriting workshops, but then there'd be production workshops where students from all the different disciplines would come together and workshop scripts. Mm-hmm. So I was involved because I was at the Michener Center for Writers at UT as a writer, but I had done a lot of directing and I was an actor for a lot of years. Well, I still am an actor. But so we would sort of like a Sundance lab. We would try to develop these scripts, and they ended up choosing this script to be the first film made. So they put up the money, and we got all the equipment for UT, and the crew is like 99.9% either current students or recent graduates.
And does that kind of add to your experience of it? Just the pride of getting to kind of be a mentor to all these students?
Yeah, I'm sort of I didn't really go to college until I was a lot older, so I was a student as well. I was a recent graduate. But yeah, it was awesome because I think one of the beautiful things about filmmaking is just how collaborative it is, and it's often really interesting if a lot of people involved in the production are sort of pushing themselves beyond their comfort level. So we had a lot of people who are doing things for the first time. It was the first time I directed a feature. Marcel Rodriguez, who's a cinematographer, it was the first time he he had shot a feature. And that was the same for the gaffer, and that was the same for pretty much all down the line, you know. So it was really exciting, and I think it was really successful in that we had a great shoot. The energy was amazing. You know, we never got behind. The acting is fantastic, and that was all local actors. So it just had this really nice, you know, community family feel. And because of the university, we had a lot of equipment, and we had a big crew as well. So the film has a lot of production design, has a lot of cinema. You know, we were able to spend some time lighting. We had, you know, so it doesn't look like your typical sort of really low budget film.
Sure.
Just because we had some resources that were out of, you know, sort of out of the ordinary in that.
Right. And being that this is such a Texas film, I guess you could call it a Texas film, was it important to have it in the Dallas Film Festival?
Yeah, it was really important. I mean, it's I can't wait to see how it plays here. You know, we have our first screening today, because it is a very, I mean, you know, I think it'll play, you know, in the mainstream as well, but it has a very Texas feel to it. It has a very Austin feel. I think it's really funny that the bad guy comes from Dallas. And, so yeah, I think it's really important. Obviously, this is a great festival. The theater we're playing is just so beautiful. I was there doing a QC this morning, the Magnolia. So I'm psyched, yeah. And it's really good for all of us because, I mean, a bunch of the actors are coming up from Austin. I've got a lot of relatives here in Dallas. They're all coming. You know, just it'll be great. It'll be really fun.
Well, do you have a website where people can check out what's going on with your film?
Yeah, dancewiththeone.com.
Sure. Well, again, thanks for being here on a Sunday morning, and congratulations and good luck.
Thanks, Kara. Thanks, Joe.